We would then request our next speaker, Lieutenant General Dr. B.N. Prasad, Sena Medal, Visis Seva Medal, to then take it on. General Prasad is a super specialist of repute in pulmonary medicine. He was Commandant of Command Hospital, Eastern Command, Kolkata, and retired from service as DG Hospital Services, Armed Forces. He was also the respiratory physician to the late Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. Many of you would have read his interview on Sam Manekshaw and the way Field Marshal had been discussing with him as far as his treatment was concerned. Presently, he is Professor Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine at the KGMU. Dr. Prasad has nearly a decade of experience in the field of pulmonary medicine. His area of expertise lies in respiratory critical care and pulmonary intervention. He is also an expert in COVID-19 critical care and ICU management. Currently, apart from being there in KGMU, he is also the advisor on medical education to the state of UP. For his meritorious services, he's been awarded the Sena Medal and the Visit Seva Medal. May I kindly request General Prasad to address us all on his views on COVID care.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't see any lady here. So, respected General Thakur, I know you. You were the area commander when I was commanding the Eastern Command.
Correct, sir.
And we had some association there. Then, of course, some of the veterans I can recognize. We had wonderful association. Army experience is always for the better and good. I am very happy that Dankodi has highlighted how our preventive measures and sanitation that follow have really brought down the mortality, especially with reference to black fungus. I have not prepared any slides as such, but you are fully aware and you have heard such a wonderful erudite scholarship on COVID-19 scenario as far as India is concerned, addressing both administrative as well as the specific issues. And first I can say, has India failed? Is my question. Has India failed? Now, my answer is yes and no. Now, have we prepared ourselves for the second wave, the third wave, or subsequent waves? Have we analyzed a pandemic in totality? Let me tell you, what is pandemic? The pandemic is an infection or a disease which affects the global community. And when in a certain number, which is beyond the capacity of the healthcare system to tackle. And epidemic is one which is confined to the local areas. Now, the COVID-19 infection is a real pandemic. And if you have taken the experience of the past, in all the pandemics, we have failed. And we have the history behind that. You take the swine flu, you take the influenza of the Spain. Whenever the pandemic came, it came like a tsunami. And we were taken by surprise. Is it because we have come to a conclusion with antibiotics, with the technology, we can tackle all the problems? And that is where we have gone wrong scientifically, administratively, and in every aspect, whether it's in policy making. Now, when it comes to the policy making, yes, on health cases, we have not invested on education. And that is where the whole problem is. Our approach has been only reactive and defensive. It doesn't work, ladies and gentlemen. When you are dealing with the pandemic, you have to be very aggressive. You have to be proactive. And you have to pool our resources and see what is best for the situation. After having said so, shall we come to the technical aspect of the whole story? Have we understood the virus properly. No, sir, we have not understood the virus. Is it really such a bad virus? Is it the virus that we cannot tackle? And this is where I don't have a definite answer. But our record definitely tells us that we have failed. Let me come to the first point. When this virus was discovered as the cause for the respiratory distress syndrome in China, much time has passed. Much water has flowed under the bridge. I can tell you that. And by the time the world reacted to it, it was too late. The community spread has already occurred. Second point, can we prevent a respiratory infection by public health measures? My answer is simply no, sir. It is not possible. This is such a tiny virus. These measures like social distancing, N95 mask, it's all fine. It may reduce to some extent, but it is not a foolproof method. And when the community transmission has occurred, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, nothing you can do. The only way we can prevent it is by boosting up the body immunity. And that is by vaccination or addressing by chemoprophylaxis. What is chemoprophylaxis? Chemoprophylaxis means giving a specific antiviral drug which will remove this virus from the body and therefore the consequences of this viral replication. And that is chemoprophylaxis. In armed forces, you all know that when somebody is posted to northeastern side, where there is a malignant malaria, empty malaria, you are given chemoprophylaxis. And that prevents all the havocs associated with what you call the malignant malaria. And when you analyze the malignant malaria, it is as serious, maybe much more serious than the COVID-19 infection. But why we are so much concerned about the COVID-19 infection? It just paralyzes the society. It is like a biological warfare. It is like a biological warfare. And we are not prepared to tackle it. So this is all I would like to tell you. So how to address the situation? To address the situation, let us be very clear. What we can provide, what we should provide, basics, that should not be found wanting. Whether in service sector, whether it's in civil sector, that has to be ensured. And what should be our basic approach? Recognizing the problem. Recognize the problem, number one, and secondly, assessing the severity. Now, once we assess the severity, give the most appropriate treatment. Have you got the adequate treatment facilities that you all know we don't have? We don't have. We have to build up our infrastructure. And you ask me the most important question. What should be the right treatment? And that is where I'm sure nobody has a definite answer. But I can tell you, if you take the pulse from the past, our experience, then the basic approach you should not find lacking. Emergency care. It is ABC, the maintenance of airways, oxygenation, circulation, supporting the system so that it is able to sustain itself. Then coming to the pulmonary issues. In the pulmonary issues, our Janpuri has rightly highlighted, it causes a severe pneumonia. And what is the pneumonia? We call it in simple terms ARDS. What is ARDS? It is adult acute respiratory distress syndrome. That means there is a failure of the lung. What is failure of the lung? The failure of the lung to oxygenate. You give tons of oxygen to these people by the best possible method that you have. Yet the oxygen does not get into the blood. It just does not get into the blood. Whatever you try, it doesn't work. You give them steroids, it doesn't work. You give them mechanical ventilation, it doesn't work. You give them the supportive treatment, it doesn't work. And it fails. And that is where the failure of science has come. Now, second point, what Janpuri has highlighted. We have seen that this virus doesn't only affect the lungs, it's a systemic disease. It has a typical presentation and an atypical presentation. And our history has told us that typical presentation is not a common feature of the virus infection. The virus infection always presents atypical. Therefore, we should be able to recognize this atypical presentation. We should not have a set guidelines to approach this problem. That is where intuitive medicine, the clinical medicine, comes superior. We are too much focusing on the lab methods. We are addressing the cytokine storm. We are addressing issues in a peripheral manner. In nutshell, what I would like to tell you, this is, first of all, it is a lung failure. Number two, there is oxygen deficiency. Number three, when there is oxygen deficiency, it affects each and every cell of the body. Therefore, you have clot formation, you have kidney failure, you have a lung failure, heart failure, and every organ failure, including encephalopathy, what General Puri was talking about. So, to address the whole issue, remember one thing, the fundamentals, the medical ethics. The medical ethics says that whatever you do is to be beneficial to the patient. Number two, you should not harm the patient. So we should give an optimal supportive treatment. We should not be too aggressive with all the novel drugs that we have. We should minimize the use of antibiotics. We should know how to use the steroids judiciously. And we should know how to use oxygen properly. Oxygen, gentlemen, remember, is toxic. It is a drug. Even if the oxygen is available in plenty, if we do not know how to administer oxygen, and if we do not know how to ventilate the patients, we have lost many lives because of that. I can give an example to you. The people who are well off and they can afford the best treatment possible, they get admitted in a corporate hospital. They get into the best of the best facilities. Yet they die. Why they die? Is it because of lack of deficiency of oxygen? Is it because they did not get the ventilators? Did they not get the remdesivir in time? Did they not get the tocilizumab in time? And all the some cocktails that we have been talking about. They did not get it, they got it. Yet the science failed. The science has failed. We are not able to address this problem. I will come back to the history of remdesivir. The remdesivir came as a drug for compassionate use. Is it compassionate on the patient? No, sir, it is not compassionate. And who introduced this remdesivir? It was by Trump administration, by Dr. Anthony Fauci, the famous immunologist from the city, from CDC Atlanta, and also with the immunology group there. And he was asked by Trump, have you got a carpet bombing to address this issue? Yes, I have. And that is remdesivir. And somebody came with tocilizumab. So we are really playing with the lives of people because of ignorance. Now, the last point, that in the social media, you mentioned about Brigadier Raj Kapoor, who had, what I want to say, that he was not, given the dignity and the honor. The dignity and honor is the fundamental right of every patient. And it's also the of doubt we should not compromise when it comes to dignity and honor. And how to address it? To address it, it cannot be just left to the commandant of the hospital. It has to be addressed in a holistic manner with all the support system that we have. And if you do that, I'll be very much delighted that our veterans will get the justice. The justice should be two. Number one, the technical justice. The other is administrative justice. When it comes to technical thing, it is the medicals, the professionals. We have to make our own address the issue. That is, this is a global problem. We have to address it locally with our available resources and with the two fundamental principles in mind. Benefit the patient. Do not harm the patient. That's all I have to tell you. But if you want to go into the specific issues, be it the critical care in the management, whether it is vaccination, the third wave, or anything about COVID you have in your mind, I shall be delighted to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Prasad. The confidence which you have provided us on handling the virus is just what we needed. The solutions given by you are what we wanted to hear. And I think you've placed your views in a very, very simple form, which we've all understood. Thank you once again, sir.